Right now, Dianne Feinstein and other members of the U.S. Senate are trying to define the word press. Not bill press, press, as in the First Amendment, the press that's mentioned in the first line of the First Amendment of the Constitution. And no matter how well-intentioned their plan may be, this could backfire badly. We need to be paying attention to this. You know, the question, what is journalism? And I'm with Stuart Potter, the former U.S. Supreme Court Justice, who I think in the Linda Lovelace Deep Throat case, anyway, back in the day said, I can't define porn, but I know it when I see it. Same thing with journalism. When news first broke back in May that the Justice Department was grabbing hold of the records, the phone records of AP reporters and had tracked the movements of Fox News' James Rosen, it was actually a really great time for Congress to try to pass some strong protections, basically shield laws for freedom of the press, that thing that the First Amendment to the Constitution says is necessary for the necessary for a free state is the Second Amendment. But you get it. I mean, you can't have, a free country without a free press. And the public was outraged about what the NSA was all up to. And big-name senators from both parties, Chuck Schumer from New York, Democrat, South Carolina's Republican Lindsey Graham, they were all saying we need to have laws to protect journalists from prosecution. And now that bipartisan push for a media shield law has, shall we say, hit a snag. And that snag is senators like California's Dianne Feinstein, who don't think that bloggers and tweeters should have the First Amendment protections, the same First Amendment protections that reporters who work for Fox and the New York Times have. And this is a really big deal. This is a really important thing that we all need to be paying attention to, and you need to be talking to your members of Congress about. Right now, in its current form, the Senate's Media Shield Law requires the Justice Department to give any journalist and their organization a 45-day heads up when they want to snoop on them. And a journalist, according to the pending bill, is anyone who has, and I quote from the legislation, a primary intent to investigate events and procure material, end quote. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, not so much for Dianne Feinstein. California senator told her colleagues earlier this month that she's worried that the word journalist is so vague that this proposed media shield law could, quote, provide special privileges to those who are not reporters at all. Apparently, in Senator Feinstein's opinion, real reporters have salaries. In other words, they work for official news agencies recognized by the Washington establishment. Senator Feinstein wants to make sure that the Senate's media shield law doesn't save WikiLeaks from prosecution. But if Congress were to limit media shield protections only to paid journalists, that would mean that any number of bloggers, like Glenn Greenwald, tweeters, independent citizen journalists, any of them could be prosecuted by the federal government for talking to a source, to a whistleblower, just because they don't take home a paycheck. And that is wrong. Journalism is not a profession, and journalism is not a person. It's an act. Anyone who comments on the news, anyone who cultivates sources, anyone who breaks a story about government or corporate corruption, that person is engaging in an act of journalism. Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart once said about pornography that he knew it when he saw it. In my opinion, the same goes for journalism. You know it when you see it. Sounds vague, but it's true. The idea of journalism as an act and not just as a profession is especially relevant to today, because with the rise of internet and digital journalism, pretty much anyone who wants to be part of the press can be part of the press. You want to be a reporter? Fine. Start a Twitter account. I mean, you got to go out and find something to report on, but you can call yourself a reporter, and a lot of people do. You don't need a college degree. You don't need to have gone to J school. You just need good news sense and hard work. So if the purpose of the press is to inform the public, then bloggers and Twitter users and, frankly, even WikiLeaks fit the bill. They may not get paid for what they do, but what they do is an essential part of the democratic process. It's an essential part, a check, essentially, on the powers of government. It's the fourth estate. It's the unofficial fourth branch of government, and it's essential to American liberty. I mean, just think about this. Independent freelance blogs and organizations from, WikiLeaks to you name it, Truthout, are arguably even better news sources than traditional media outlets because they are not compromised by corporate sponsors and they're open to anyone who can break a story. I mean, just consider how seriously the founders took this. The Constitution mentions only one industry by name, and that industry is the press. For the Founding Fathers, there was no institution more important for a democratic society than a free and independent media. So right there at the top of the Bill of Rights in the First Amendment, they wrote that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. But the press is a special industry. It should include everyone who publishes, who tweets, who comments on the news. It should include everyone who acts to inform the public. And those acts of journalism deserve protection, regardless of who does them or how. I've shared with you many times on this show, Thomas Jefferson once said he'd rather have newspapers without a government than a government without newspapers. If Jefferson were alive today, there's no doubt in my mind he would be saying the same thing about bloggers, tweeters, and WikiLeaks. If we want the First Amendment to keep us free, we all have to stand up and say to these legislators who are trying to decide who is and who is not the press that the definition of the press has to be as all-inclusive as possible. We got to be about the First Amendment the way the NRA is about the Second. We got to be nuts about this. I mean, just emphatic. We have to demand that our elected representatives protect acts of journalism rather than just paid professional journalists. I know journalism when I see it. Glenn Greenwald was performing an act of journalism. Anyone who informs the public about what's going on in the world, in the halls of Congress and corporate boardrooms, on the streets of their city, they're engaging in journalism, period, end of story. And they are worthy of protection. Now, the Supreme Court is apparently not going to do it, even though we live in a constitutional monarchy, and the Supreme Court claims that they're the ones who have the official power to decide what's so and what's the law and who has what and all that kind of thing. But they've not come along and so, they've protected free speech to the extent that they protect billionaires. Yes, you can buy elections. You can run all the ads you want. You can, change people's minds. You can lie to people. They protect billionaires. They protect political parties. They protect corporations. But they haven't weighed in to protect the independent press, the independent media. The person who might just see somebody doing something wrong on the street, whether it's a police officer or a representative of Dow Chemical, and video it with their phone, commit an act of journalism, and then be confronted by the police on behalf of that powerful person, saying, okay, give me your phone, kid. No. I'm a journalist. I'm protected. The Supreme Court is not going to weigh in on this because it would mean weighing in on the side of the little guy. They're not going to do that. We have to require our legislators to do it.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
So give them a call, especially your senators, and say media shield laws have to protect acts of journalism as well as journalists.